Hello and welcome to the NHL Best Bets. Yesterday there were only two games in NHL because some of the games were postponed and also the schedule maker hasn't really equalized the game between the nights. So while today we are watching 8 different games, like I said, yesterday there were only two. And let's go quickly through our picks. We had a Detroit at Tampa under 6 goals after first 5 minutes or so. It was already 3-0 for Tampa, so not very good start for this kind of under bet, but at the end Tampa won 5-1 and the bet was push. Then another game, Boston Philadelphia, very good and interesting tight game. Went overtime and their hot hands of Boston's first line scored the winner 4-3, and by that our day result was negative. But how do you see, Tommy, these bets? Even though the results were good, results were not good. Were the bets good?
Yeah, it was once again this sort of a round that went pretty much exactly as we predicted it to go, but just then bounced in the wrong direction. So, of course, like we were speaking about Tampa Bay being a lot better team than Detroit is, and the worry there was that if Tampa Bay will actually score that 6 goals by themselves, they didn't, but Detroit managed to get one. So it was a good bet. I think the realistic result could have been easily 4-0 or 3-0. Of course, in the beginning, Detroit was completely out of it, and I think allowed 3 goals in the first 4 shots on goal. So they then changed the goaltender. Thomas Greiss left, and Calvin Pickard came in, and he allowed then 2 goals. So it was an okay pick. Could have gone our way as well, but wasn't to be this time. Notably, Detroit, like we've been predicting, plays really bad at the moment. Tampa Bay improved a little bit, but to be fair, they really did not need to compete that much. They didn't need to do a lot to win this game. Then in Philadelphia, it was the same old story. Philadelphia was leading up until in the third period already with 2 goals, but still managed to lose it. So if there are teams that manage to somehow pull the rabbit out of the hat, Boston Bruins seems to be that sort of team. It's not the first time they've done this. They've played 10 games, overtime 6 times, and won 4 out of those overtime games. So it's a team that never gives up, and even if they are down, you can't count them out. But this was a really bad result for Philadelphia team. If you're leading in the third period, you have to hold on to that lead against the teams like Boston, who are their direct rivals now, especially in this schedule. So a very bad loss for Philadelphia, pretty bad loss for us as well. And I think you have some graphical information on how the live betting odds went in that game.
Yes, let's take a look of our in-play win probabilities here. So here in this graph you can see home team win probability, meaning Philadelphia in this case. Green is Buffalo's win probability based on our calculation models, and then live odds from the bookmakers are these blue and purple colors. So you can see here that when Boston scored immediately from the first shift, I think there was 12 seconds played, the odds for their win bumped up to the 70%. Our odds were increasing a little bit more conservative way, and at the same time odds and probability for the home team Philadelphia win was decreasing as well. So when you take a look of this area of the graph, that basically shows that there is a value to bet for Philadelphia's win. Then in second period, Philadelphia scored 1-1, and then it was basically 50-50 game when the game went to the second intermission here. and Philadelphia game storming from the second intermission to the third period. After 1 minute they scored, and win probability jumped up to the 75%. Then their second score in third period, so the score was 3-1. Win probability for Philadelphia at that point was, I think, close to 98%. And when Boston scored 8 minutes before the end of the game, it dropped to the 80, and here then final minute, the score, the tying score, and the result 3-3 after the regular time. It's not visible here, but you can see that in third period our bet was 98% sure, and then those 2% were too much this time to cash in. But like you said, I think good plus money for home team. That was not a big underdog there. Bookmakers showed a little bit more, but this is the way how games are played, and tight games can turn either way.
Yeah, this is a great example of a game that it's worth to watch live. And if you see the game going, you have your bets placed for Philadelphia in this case. When they're leading 3-1 in the third period, you can easily place a safety bet to get your at least your money back in case they mess up their lead like they did this time. So this can be done a couple of times already this season, that we've been predicting a team to win, that they've led the game until the third period, and you get a good value for betting against. So something to take a look at as well if you have the chance to follow the game and play some live bets as well, because this is a good way to maybe get back your bet in case of these sort of topsy-turvy games that then turn completely against you in the end, like we've had a couple of times this season.
Yeah, that's a good point here, that if you bet $100 for Philadelphia win, and then 8 minutes before the end of the game somebody offers 20 odds for the Boston win, it makes sense to place a small bet there, at least secure that you are winning something, and in the case Boston wins, you would make much more, like happened yesterday. But let's continue to today's game. Like I said, there's 8 games on the table, and we have made a few picks here. This time Nashville goes to Florida. Our simulations show Florida as a quite clear favorite in this game. They have played well, a bit less games than Nashville so far, but they have produced good results. They haven't lost a single game in regular time, and only one overtime loss in their 6 games. At the same time, Nashville has played 9 games, won 4, lost 5, and Florida is a reasonably good home team, so this is something that we are looking forward to see that the home team is producing as they have been producing last games. Then we go back to the Canada Scotia North Division game. Calgary continues their trip in Winnipeg. They have already played 4 road games. This is their 5th one, and Winnipeg plays, I think, 7th home game in a row, and they lost 1, they won 1, and now based on the simulations, Winnipeg is favorite in this game, even though the odds indicate that they are small underdog. But we trust on our machines, and we pick up Winnipeg here. Those games have been very tight, 3-2, 3-4 between the teams, and we expect another tight game here. But home team should have the edge to win it at least overtime or in shootout.
Yeah, we should finally make a good pick on the shootout as well. So Winnipeg, Calgary, definitely this sort of a coin flip of a game, but you get the odds for the home team in the positive. So always a good pick, especially in these Canadian rivalries that look like they are very close games. In the simulations, we have Winnipeg winning 57% of the game, so a little bit better than coin flip in this case. So even without Pierre-Luc Dubois, who is still probably in the COVID protocol, Winnipeg should be able at home to fight off Calgary Flames. They are then having a 5-day break after this, both teams, and Calgary will then host Winnipeg in the Saddledome, which we're probably going to pick Winnipeg again, but let's see this game first. But a good value there for a home team that is has played a little bit better. They have a little bit more solidity in their game. They're not leaking as many goals as they were in the beginning of the season, and definitely something that Paul Maurice has worked on is to try and make the defense work a little bit better to support Connor Hellebuyck. And the same thing goes for Calgary. Of course, they are working on their defense with Jacob Markstrom in the goal. So could be quite a low-scoring game, tight one. But let's hope that Winnipeg will find a way to win it. And then the other one are one of our favorites in the simulations early in the season has been Florida Panthers. They have delivered. They played pretty well. Nashville, on the other hand, a little bit disappointing. These teams have not faced off each other that many times, so a bit of a different sort of change of pace for both teams. Like I said, Florida hasn't yet lost in the regulation at all, so it's a good start for Florida team. Of course, 4 of their 6 games in overtime, they won 3 times, so this one could be again overtime or shootout game that this time they're gonna bounce our way.
How about any other home team values here? I think we have our favorite Kevin Lankinen again between the pipes when Carolina visits or continue their visit in Chicago, and then St. Louis plays also another game against Arizona, and St. Louis has been quite good bang for us, especially at home.
Yeah, St. Louis clear favorites against Arizona. We have them winning 67% of the simulations, while the odds are around 59%. So good value there for quite a clear home favorite. Of course, Arizona, defensively sound team, might cause some problems for St. Louis, but they've been improving. The home team, St. Louis, has improved a bit. So I think it's quite a clear game for the home favorites. And then, of course, when we take a look at Chicago and Carolina, Carolina has been playing a little bit less than the other teams. They played pretty well, but like you said, Kevin Lankinen has been a revelation to Chicago. We have them winning 47% of the games at home here against Carolina. So they are still underdogs, but not as heavy underdogs as the odds would indicate. There is plus 144 odds available for Chicago, so probably a lot tighter game than the odds indicate, and let's see how our boy Kevin will be playing this time.
How about any road teams? I think there is at least Dallas, who demolished last time Columbus when they met a few nights ago. They are our favorite on the road, and then I think quite interesting matchup between New York Rangers and Washington. I know that we have been rooting for Rangers. Now they are based on odds favorite against Washington. That should be a bit better team, but how about our numbers in those games?
Yeah, in New York, it's an interesting setup. Washington actually going in as a underdog for on the road. Probably because of their performances against Boston were not that good. But when you take a look at the teams of New York Rangers and Boston Bruins, of course, Boston is a lot better team. Washington should be favored here. In our simulations, they win about 51% So it is a really tight one, but still it's interesting to see that Capitals going to Madison Square Garden as underdogs. It's not something you see every day. So if you like these underdogs on the road, definitely Washington. Surprisingly, something to take a look at. Of course, they're still without their number one goaltender, Ilya Samsonov, and Evgeny Kuznetsov is out, and Lars Eller, I think, as well. But they are definitely better team than New York Rangers is. But remains to be seen how Rangers are approaching this game. They've been doing a bit better after getting rid of Tony DeAngelo, a little bit of let's say cleaning up the dressing room. So maybe they are on the road for some more success. Then, of course, Dallas, like you said, demolished Columbus. Maybe a little bit goaltending problems there as well. Joonas Korpisalo didn't have the best game of his life last time around. And something that John Tortorella will definitely take a look at, and they will probably come back a lot better defensively against Dallas. But difficult to say. In simulations, we have Dallas winning 59% of the games, but the odds indicate about 51%. So there is value for Dallas. They are road favorites, but Columbus might as well bounce back with the second game of Patrick Laine, a little bit adjustment period for him as well. But I would take a keen look on this game because it's an interesting matchup. But maybe refrain from putting any bets for Dallas this time around because last time was not that clear as the numbers might have indicated.
Yeah, I think Dallas, as we've seen, for example, during the playoffs last year, is quite a bit game of momentum. So if they play well, they play well, and if they don't, they don't. So they are not the team that wins a lot of games 1-2 or 3-2, but they usually, when they find their stride, they are difficult to stop.
Yeah, definitely. And last time around, I think they scored 3 goals on a tip-in from the blue line. So these sort of goals might go in, might not go in. So a little bit of luck would be a wrong word because there is no such thing, but maybe a little bit fortunate in there to score so many goals.
Any other games that you think could be interesting to check, for example, before the starting goalies are announced?
Yeah, there are some questions, of course, who is going to play. Montreal is facing Ottawa. Jake Allen probably starting for Montreal. Of course, Montreal, one of the teams that has done a lot better than we've expected. Still, we have them clear favorites, but the odds are even more. So Ottawa should stand a chance to surprise at some point if they play Matt Murray, who always gives his team a chance to win. But to be fair, Ottawa's performances have been pretty bad, so it's a long shot at best, but something to look into. And also the other Canadian game, Toronto against Vancouver. There is the similar sort of a setup. So Toronto clear favorites, but the odds are even bigger. Even worse for them, I mean that they are bigger favorites according to the odds than the simulations. So small value there for Vancouver. Both goaltenders for Vancouver played well, Thatcher Demko and Braden Holtby. So question there, who is going to play, but it doesn't really make a difference. So I think most of these games are quite clearly set in our simulations, and let's hope for the best.
We'll do so. We watch again 8 games tonight and wake up freshly in the morning here in Finland.
That's what we're going to do.